If white PPL had Instagram pages strictly dedicated to white beauty, it would be considered racist. I see this all the time on Instagram: melanin obsession, Afro kings/queens, etc. There's nothing wrong with appreciating beauty, but don't consider it racist when whites do it. I understand why they do it, because they claim whites are already praised by the mainstream. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but regardless, PPL can value whatever they want on social media, so don't give them crap for it. All this really is doing is pushing segregation, but what do I know? I think the black dedicated beauty sites came as a reaction to the generic beauty sites promoting white features as being beautiful. There isn't a need to stipulate that your page only promotes white beauty, when that's already largely the norm. Just as I imagine r/baseball is dominated by the American Baseball League, ensure if a group do Japanese baseball enthusiasts wanted to take to Reddit to talk about the Japanese league, they would probably set up their own sub called r/baseball Japan. I don't even know the first thing about baseball. I'm assuming that r/baseball is dominated by US baseball. In assuming Japan has Reddit, I'm assuming that they'd make a sub called r/baseball Japan, and I'm assuming that you as the reader are able to understand the concept of an example. This will get removed, watch SMH. Preference isn't racist, sexist or anyist. You just said it yourself, white obsession is already a mainstream idea. In many countries like Korea and Mexico, darker skin is looked down upon and often seen as undesirable. Curly hair also isn't sought out for, which is why many people straighten their hair. Everyone wants lighter skin or even a light skin tan, nothing too dark. And because of the stigma that darker, brown skin is undesired, certain social media pages dedicate themselves to showing the beauty of different characteristics you may not see in the media. It's not only beneficial for adults but children too, who may have low self-esteem because of their different appearance that isn't so different after all. I think you have a fundamental misunderstanding of the reason that makeup pages that cater to women of color exist. Mainstream beauty, especially in America, is notorious for only showing white women. If there is not a place for you, you make a place for yourself. There is no real reason for anyone to make a white beauty page, and if there were, it would not be an unpopular opinion. Context matters. White beauty, long straight hair, colored eyes, small facial features, lighter skin, etc., is considered the standard for beauty throughout most of the world. Even countries like India run a lot of ads for skin lightening products, and Iranian women have so many nose jobs done that the bandage itself is sometimes considered a status symbol. Whereas celebrating black beauty, curly hair, brown eyes, large facial features, darker skin, etc., or any other ethnicity's beauty simply aims to add in a new standard of beauty that is achievable for them without heavily altering their bodies to suit white beauty standards. None of this is to say that an individual's beauty preferences are problematic. This is more about society at large, and how people who don't fit in these arbitrary beauty standards can feel alienated from society. I've come across many pages dedicated to white beauty and pages dedicated to blondes, redheads, etc. There is nothing wrong with that. Stop seeing conspiracies everywhere. How is this unpopular? I'm black and I'm totally fine with this. It's social media. I think those pages were born out of no one is going to do it for us, so we might as well. That already exists. Except it's mainstream media. Mainstream media is filled with only white models, they make up the majority of models, so having black beauty Instagram pages to celebrate themselves because no one else will isn't the big issue here. This is such a numbskull take. White beauty has been the standard since pictures were in circulation. It's not that big a deal, dude, don't be so fragile. Sigh. You do realize that the reason black beauty has to be a thing is because for decades, the beauty industry has been dominated by white people? In magazines, modeling, even in the type of makeup available, only when Fenty was launched with 40-something shades did it become the norm for brands to have more inclusivity. You have missed the point by miles. There are pages for hot gingers, blondes, brunettes, dark skin, light skin, Indian, Amerindian, Asians, Arabs, every fucking thing you can think of. Instead you choose to your pedantic bitching because you don't like black beauty. Black people have pages dedicated to it because they don't see themselves in media. Black people aren't represented. Those pages are to showcase their beauty because black people are told that they aren't as pretty because of their skin. White people don't need these pages, so it's silly of you to bring it up in the first place. These pages won't and never will exist because everywhere you can see white beauty being showcased. The reason there are not Instagram pages for white beauty is because mainstream beauty standards are white standards as the majority. If you want to pick a double standard battle, this is not the one. This killed off so many brain cells. WTF isn't clicking. It's because beauty standards have been set against black PPL for centuries, to the point that even today black PPL, specifically women, have to change their natural appearance to be deemed socially acceptable or professional. Black beauty is to boost confidence in black women's natural traits they have been conditioned to hate about themselves. White PPL don't need that. Just STFU and check your privilege, please. Usually I agree, but the thing is, white women are constantly talked about as being beautiful. Black beauty pages aren't to say white people are uglier, but it's just to uplift black people who aren't always included. It ain't about racism, it's about representation. You feeling offended because you can't have white beauty? How oblivious are people, seriously? Yep, the very people fighting against this so-called prevalent racism are the very ones keeping it alive, to be completely truthful. White people, specifically white women, have been considered the standard of beauty for centuries, and essentially the norm. The reason why there are black beauty pages on the internet is because black features have, for hundreds upon hundreds of years, been looked at and viewed as ugly or unattractive, which is very interesting considering the constant blackfishing and cultural appropriation on the internet daily. The purpose of those pages are to uplift those same features that have been viewed through a lens of distaste, whether it be hairstyles, ebonics, AAVE, physical features, butts, lips, hair, skin tone. There are various stories, you can look this up and do your research, of young black kids not being allowed to go to school and kicked out of school because of wearing braids, locks, natural hair, etc. As well as black adults being fired from their place of work. The Kardashians constantly appropriate and take elements of black culture to have fun with, but never seem to want to deal with what comes with being black. For me, as a black woman, it boils down to, they love the culture but they don't love us. Nowadays, being black is seen as a trend. The same people constantly appropriating on the regular are very much so silent right now. Bad bye-bye.